You've probably heard the expression, seeing is believing. But really, it's actually a lot more like believing is seeing. Because we only see what we believe to be true. But just think about that for a minute. How much are we missing out on because of our beliefs? How much does it affect our relationships or the way we show up in the world, the way we interact with our experience around us? How much does it affect our entire reality that we are creating? In the 1970s, a spiritual teacher and author called Leonard Orr came up with this concept around there being two parts of the human psyche, the thinker and the prover. And it's these two parts that together create the reality we actually experience. So the thinker is imagination. The thinker can imagine anything that it wants to. It's very powerful, but it's often influenced by the things around it, like the people around it and the culture around it. But it does have the power to imagine anything. It's limitless. So it could imagine a world which is full of loving people, full of possibilities and adventure, a world that's exciting, and there's something new to experience around every corner. But it can just as easily imagine a world which is full of shady characters and dark streets and fear and constant scarcity. That's the thinker's role, is to imagine. It's a judge as well. It's the one that decides what is true and what is false. It's the judge, jury, executioner all wrapped up. It's the one that really dictates what is real and what is not. But that's where its role ends, because that's where the prover comes in. And the prover's job is simple. The prover's role is to basically prove that anything that the thinker decides is true, anything it decides is right or wrong, true or false, the prover's job is to prove it, to find evidence for it. And if it's really good at the job, then it'll change beliefs into hills we can die on. But there's a flip side to this, because the cost of the prover being good at his job is that it will very much lean into discounting anything that doesn't align with the thing it's trying to prove is true. It does not want to know about the idea of, am I definitely right about this? Or is this definitely true? It's not interested in that. It doesn't judge. It merely looks for the evidence to prove that it is true. And so it's with these two parts of our psyche that we create whatever reality it is that we believe to be true. So Leonard Orr, he told a story about this, about a watch. So if you just imagine there's a busy market, and a man goes into this market looking to buy a watch. He finds the watch seller, and the watch seller does a really good job of convincing him that this particular watch is the best watch. This watch is so good. This watch never skips a millisecond. It's the best watch you're ever going to buy. So the man goes along with it, he buys into it, and he's like, all right, I'll take that watch. And so he does. He takes the watch and he goes off to live his days, and he's very proud of his watch. He wears it proudly, and every time someone asks him for the time, happily shares it with them. They thank him, and his evidence builds that he really has got the best watch around. Until one day, when he lends his watch to a friend, and they happen to be stood in front of the town hall. And on the town hall is a massive clock. And he says to his friend, is something wrong? And his friend says, didn't you know that your watch is 5 minutes slow? And the man at first doesn't believe this. He's like, what are you talking about? This is the greatest watch around. But he looks for himself and he sees that his watch really is 5 minutes slower than the town hall. He still can't believe it. So he asks a passerby who's got a watch, what time do you have? His watch also aligns with the town hall. And so the man at this point, he's shocked and his entire belief crumbles. And as it does, he starts to look back at past events and a new light is shone upon them. He understands now why he missed the transport. He understands now why his business acquaintance was upset with him for being a little late to the meeting, because he never knew he was. Everything that he now experiences is seen through a different light, including his past. But the truth is that his watch never changed. His perception has, because his belief has changed. So from a neuroscientific point of view, there's this part of the brain called the reticular activation system. And this is a collection of neurons in the brainstem. And it's here that it acts like a sort of filter for our perception. It's here that it's chosen what we actually experience. So out of all the information that's flooding our senses all the time, what we actually perceive is filtered by the RAS. And what it chooses to be important enough to show us, for us to experience, is often dictated by what we believe to be true. So this is like the scientific reason why believing is seeing. Now, when people marry their beliefs with their rawest emotions and their deepest desires, the prover has to go into a sort of overdrive. It has to work so tirelessly to validate beyond any other shadow of a doubt that what the thinker holds to be true is in fact correct. And it will do this so conclusively that no amount of arguments, no amount of facts can possibly pierce the reality tunnel that's been created. Now, we see this so much with social media these days and with this modern world in general, that it's just so easy for the prover to be proven correct when we're constantly bombarded with algorithmic information, which is literally designed to give us more of what we already believe. And so this is what's creating more and more of a polarized society, because we're just building up these big walls of evidence for what we already believe to be true. And that's what's going to keep us separate from everyone else, because everyone has their own echo chamber. Everyone has this huge wall around them. So it's getting harder and harder for people to actually experience other people and be able to hear other people. Because how could we ever be wrong when we have, or how is there even a middle ground when our wall of beliefs is so strong? Now, obviously, the danger of using technology carelessly like this is that we slip into a sort of fundamentalism around our beliefs. And so reality is created by what we believe. So in order to transcend our own biases, in order to align deeper with the truth that can only be found when we look inwards, we need to be more discerning with the information we're consuming, and we need to be more willful with our intentions. Now, we can choose our beliefs, but it can take time to discover the evidence needed to formulate a belief. And that's why it's so important not to wait until tomorrow to start searching for the evidence that you can create the thing you want to create in life. You can build the vision that you have. And you can become the person that you want to be. Because if you can imagine it well enough with the thinker, you will prove it with the prover.